Bomba-dee-da, 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 bomba-dee-da,
Happy
bomba-dee-da,
trails. Happy trails, everyone.
Hey,
Hey,
happy
we're
trails.
back.
That's right.
We're
We're
back
back.
again.
Tag team back again. Check it to wreck it. Let's begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hip hop song, Blaine.
Yeah,
Know
I'm
that?
sure it is. I
Yeah.
bet somebody in my office knows it who's 20.
Yeah. Okay, well, how do you think I don't know? This is from old school, Blaine. This is old school music for
Like,
old
oh, it's
people.
not from the
For
movie Old
old
School?
for old people like us. Thank you very much. Thank you very
Well,
much.
all
Hey,
right. All
so
right.
welcome everybody. Happy trails. It's a new year. It's 2025.
Yep.
I think
And
the
we all
last time that
survived
we
2024.
we saw everybody was 2024. New Year hadn't hit. We had a lot of let's see what's that. I think it's after I turned I had a birthday since the last time
Yeah.
too. So I'm a
Yep.
little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little bit
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. A lot
So
of
there you
holiday
go.
stuff going on for us. Holiday, it was weird.
Yeah.
Christmas, New Year's in the middle of the week kind of messed up the whole excuse me, my office work week since I still work full-time dentistry in Robbins, Iowa. Blaine McLaughlin here. It just kind of messed everything up as far as schedules and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Matt Bynum, Greenville, South Carolina. Well, Simpsonville, South Carolina, really. And a little weird for me too. The end of the year, we cut bait and stopped the practice pretty much beginning right before Christmas. There's a day or two in between Christmas and New Year that we have the availability to see some patients if we want or need to. I think I went in and saw one patient or two patients, but other than that, we haven't been back in the office since. The addition to the office is still rolling. The projected receipt of the occupancy certificate is March 1st. So, I mean, we're not far from it. I mean, it might even
Yeah.
be the end of February. It's moving really fast. They're painting right now, starting to look really cool. Pretty soon, I'll be able to maybe even show y'all some of the cool things that I'm putting in the office, which is a little different. Which got to have something that rocks it, right? You
I'm
gotta
sure
gotta be different.
that
Gotta be
people
different.
perceive different. How do they perceive different? Different is better. That's
Different
the
is
perception.
better.
That's the perception out there, whether it is or not. That's one of those great marketing things that I learned years and years ago. Is that different is better, and
Well,
you know,
and we use that. We use that in our multifamily stuff, don't we? I mean, but you talk about if you're going to go in, you're going to upfit an apartment complex. Then what are you going to do? You're going to bring improvement to the kitchen. You can put new counters and appliances. Well, different is better always.
mm-hmm.
So you
Could
can
be.
separate that, add on another $25 of rent or $50 of rent or $200 of rent because of some changes like that. Then that has a significant impact over a year, over 2, 3, 4 years. Then you turn and sell it, and all of a sudden you've raised the value of your apartment complex from 14 million to 20 million. So it works like that, doesn't it, Blaine?
That's how it always works, unless it doesn't. Unless it doesn't.
Unless it doesn't. That's right.
Yeah, there's
Speaking
always
of
risk
doesn't,
involved, but
speaking of
yeah,
doesn't, I would say, the at the time that you and I got involved in multifamily, dealing with Sunrock, Cardone, and getting involved with other properties was really I would say almost at the tail end of the boom. At the
yeah,
tail end of the boom in the beginning of the fall. So
yep.
we've been writing several properties pretty hard
Through the
with
fall.
through the fall with zero distributions, wondering if they're capital calls, all of that. And I'll tell you, while I hate that we have not made the money that we were supposed to up until this point with our investments. The learning that has come from every one of those, Blaine, in my perspective, has been worth every bit of money that I have invested in.
Oh, it's great. It's going to be awesome moving forward. Again, the stuff that we learned, and a lot of the people that got in trouble through the fall had only been in the booms for the last years, 10 years or whatever.
Right. Right.
And you could almost buy anything and, semi run it into the ground if you didn't know what you're doing and still
Yeah.
sell it for a profit. It was,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was that, that's the way a lot of those worked, and everybody got cocky, right? Overconfident.
That's a fair word.
Hey, we're real. We're not gonna, beat around the bush with our words.
No beating
People
around
got
the
cocky,
bush.
man. And then times got tough, and they're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. Right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the stuff we learned is going to set us up in the future. And I'm totally with you, because, man, you get so excited and we're ready to roll and we got our plans and we're going to go. And we started investing in some things with our friends, and they're like, okay. And then there's like, hey, there's no distributions because of this. And we're like, yeah, I know the market's changing, but really? And then the market got worse and worse and worse. And everybody's like, I got to keep my cash. And we're like, okay. So,
Yep.
yeah.
I think the worst part of all that is when you're on the other end and you're raising money and you brought your friends into the fold. Because there's nothing more than I want in any of the investments that I'm part of where my friends are, is I want my friends to make money. So being a part of a situation where we're not making money and your friends are looking at you kind of like, hey, this was on you. It is on you. And we're doing everything we can. So I still am telling my friends in the investments that I'm in, we're still not at a stage where we're in trouble. We're not folding. We're not, it's not collapsing. They're not foreclosing. It's just we have some things we have to turn around, and the rates that hit everybody, the interest rates, and when they started to call those, started to hit everybody in the economy. So we're seeing a lot of vacancy, and especially in one of the projects we're in, a lot of vacancy because we have a lot of delinquency, and delinquency can come in with all of a sudden there's 8 people that just are like, I don't have the money. So what do you do in that case? You got 8 units in your apartments that don't have the money to pay their rent. So you just do it for free. I mean, you can't do that in a complex that's owned by multiple people. So what happens is you either put them on notice or you evict them. And when you do that, that takes months of a process, but it's also months of no money. So now not only do you have vacancy, but you've got delinquency and money, and you have debt service, and that's a problem. So we're dealing with that on a couple different properties, not just the one that we are particularly managing in San Antonio. I believe that's happening in a big property in Houston. I'm hearing that one of my favorite groups that's out there, management group, is they're actually letting one of the properties go completely. They're just going to let it go and let the bank come back and take it, which I can't believe. Because I don't want to see anybody do that, because that sheds a bad light on the whole industry, so to speak. But there must be something going on to the point that they can't survive that or revive it. So I want to look into that a little further, because that's information I just received this last week that before I start throwing info your way, I want to make sure that I'm right in what I'm telling you. So.
Yeah, well, that's not uncommon. We've seen that a few times here and there.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, if you listen to the press, if there's one thing that goes bad, they blow it up, right? And so then you think it's the whole thing. But of all the deals going bad, 98% of them are still doing okay. And the trend is switching. It's switching gears. Vacancy thing you talked about also had to do with the huge influx of new apartments going online from all the construction that was kind of over COVID. So all that gets released at the same time, and you got the interest rate issue, and it's just like 3 or 4 things, and the insurance expenses coming, and 3 or 4 things hitting you all at once. So the huge influx of new apartments is dying down here in this next year. I've heard insurance rates have stabilized in some areas, so that's good. I've also heard that property taxes, which have they just go wherever the government wants them to go. They were going up for some reason, just because they could, I guess.
Why not, right?
I've heard some of those have come down, are coming down, so they're less expensive for the coming year than they were last year. And that's unusual. But all that stuff, again, these are things that a year ago we didn't hear about, right? but these are things that are going to help the everything turn around.
Yeah.
And make multifamily. It's going to start shifting gears and headed back uphill, I believe. So
speaking of multifamily, I am in I'm at my brother's house here in Bastrop. Bass. I thought it was called Bass Drop, like bass is in fish, and then I drop the fish.
and you drop the
I thought
fish
it
in
was
the
Bass
water.
Drop. Yeah, it's not Bass Drop, it's Bastrop. So it's
That's
BAS. What is it? STROP. So it's Bastrop. Like you just skim through it, like Bastrop.
kind of like instead of New
Like
Orleans, it's New Orleans.
Nolans. Yes, it's like Bastrop. It's
Louisville.
like
Louisville.
Like Pam.
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 Is it? You say Pam?
Is there a B? The B is silent.
It's like comb.
It's like comb. hello, Miss Lady. I think I can help with the whole. Anyway, so I'm in.
Step Brothers there. Sorry.
I'm in Academy Award winner. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm in Bastrop, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. And the last time that we came to y'all is we were talking with our good friend Mark Duncan, and we were talking about a property that the three of us were looking at. And I was just in Austin, had breakfast in Austin, and we're gonna spend a couple of evenings in Austin here over the weekend, just kind of enjoying this culture here and see what's available. And so I'm going to get a chance to go by and look at the complex we were looking at. But we ran those numbers. Blaine ran them. I ran them. Mark ran them. And the thing that would never pan out in these numbers that we shared with you guys is they just don't jive. There's not enough information. There's not enough.
It was a lack of information that really, and we were trying to talk to brokers and our Sumrock coach buddies, and they aren't coming up with info. It's like, well, okay, I'm not gonna, I'm out. And
so there's something that's being hidden in is the way that I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So the ask on this property is something like 20 million.
20 million, yeah.
20 million, and all the numbers that we're looking at only supported at about 14
max.
So there's money that's being taken in that's not showing up in the books, is what it looks like. I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything unless there's accounting errors and whatnot, but there's big chunks of money that are not being found in the T12s and in the rent rolls. And the problem with that is you can't sustain a loan from any financial institution if the numbers don't support it. It's not like you can go, hey, like I was speaking with my brother Billy, and Billy said Austin's just blowing up. Everything is so, like, they could take these little homes and you'd be surprised, it's probably $1 million right there. And it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's probably like a $200,000 house. Well, there's a lot of these places around there, but you can't ask $1 million for a $200,000 house unless you have numbers to support that. At least if you're going to get lending for it. If somebody wants to buy it cash, then of course. But
and we talked to several lenders, and they kind of gave us the same thing on this. They're like, I'm not seeing it. We got to get better numbers. And I'm like, I can't. They won't give them to me. So
that's, again, red flag.
There, these are the kind of things that offers are going up. I think they're calling for offers next Wednesday, and they're going to sell it eventually, right? Sure. Maybe they get some offers. I don't know. I would love to find out what goes, what this goes through for, how much it is.
Maybe we come in and lowball that damn thing.
I mean, we can't get a loan. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking, wouldn't we go in there and just say, hey, we'll give you 10 million?
Well,
I think we can raise 10 million.
They probably laugh at us and just do it without a loan.
Yeah, we could probably raise 10 million. I mean,
that's a thought. But
we may be able to do something.
If they have a call for offers and then it comes back around and I see some next month, they're like, hey, this didn't go through, we're still in the market. Then maybe we take another step, right? But they're not going to take 10 million first time around. These guys, I mean, it's highly unlikely, right? So maybe second time around, if the call for offers comes Wednesday and nobody offers, then they'd be like, oh crap, we got to do something.
So the piece of property that Ann and I bought, that once we sell our house, we're going to put the barn dominium on, right?
Yeah,
you've seen that. You've been out on the property.
Yeah, it was great.
That was the second call. I told them when I was
Mm.
willing. They called back second time and said, we have it down at this price. Are you still interested? So now there's the property, next to it. It's the same amount of acreage, and I really want to buy it. Ann doesn't want to buy it at all. So we're in negotiations right now with investment negotiations, which when you do that with your spouse, that's a lot of fun. Like, as you can imagine. It goes something like this. Hey, I really want to take a look at this investment. Where is it? It's the one right next to it. No. Okay. Well, maybe. So, but before you can get the maybes and the stuff out, it's no. So I'm still working on that one. But anyway,
Yeah.
I thought about doing like what we're talking about with this complex. I thought about saying, hey, calling the guy up, saying, I am nowhere in the market to be looking at this property. I know you're selling it. What I could probably muster right now is I'll give you 300,000 for it cash. We'll close in 15 days. You'll have it in your pocket. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
See if they take it. So I don't know. Maybe they will. I need a hand to get on board with me though. So.
And if they don't, then that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
and they know that
that's
they know my bid's in the ring, and then if they don't sell, they can come back and do whatever they want.
Yeah, there's a lot of negotiation goes on, and for all you home buyers, you probably haggled with the price a little bit, and that's about all you can do with the home. I'll give you so much, and they come back, and then so much. You're like, can you fix the front door? Maybe you throw in a couple of repairs, but that's about it, man. In this multifamily stuff, there's a ton of different negotiations on that you can do on how to make the deal work. Whether interest rates, you can change those. You can't really do that with a home loan. You can change terms. You can change number of years of amortization terms. You can change those. You can change. It's crazy what you can do, and so that's been a eye-opening experience for me, is trying to understanding all that stuff that you can change up.
So Blaine, I just met with our new accounting firm that we have. Ann and I have switched accounting firms from where we were for the last several years, and I know that we spoke about that yesterday. But one of the things that's really, really interesting is dealing with an accounting firm that's really astute in real estate. So this particular guy that we're with is very knowledgeable in real estate and investing in regards to the investments that we make under the guise of the dentistry and everything else. So we had some really good conversation while I was there for 2 days. I learned a lot from the perspective of where he sits in combination with where I sit as the investor, and what my expectations are from my accountants, and what I'm being told I can write off tax wise, where my savings are at, that kind of thing. And he really shed a lot of light on the stuff that we're being told, being part of this multifamily real estate stuff, right? And the reality of what is you're capable of doing legally. So there's a lot of things that I was like, wow, okay, I wish I would have known that before I jumped into moving that money. It's not that I wouldn't have moved that money. So for instance, I have several properties that are under the guise of a self-directed IRA. So with a self-directed IRA, you no longer have the potential for a K1 write-off as you do when you own that personally. The self-directed IRA does, essentially, because they're the ones that where the money is parked. Well, I thought that the way it was always explained to me, I thought that you could use that tax benefit once you realize the money, but you can't. So I was very quick to get into some of these deals. Like we have to get in there because we want that immediate distribution of that K1 in that subsequent write-off, right, in the bonus depreciation. Because remember, that was when we learned about bonus depreciation early on, we're like, oh man, we get to write off basically almost the whole property after we have a cost seg done, and we get to write off the amount of money that we invested in it, right? Because that's one of the big benefits of multifamily real estate. Well, not if it's in a self-directed IRA. So now I'm like,
there's a tidbit to learn.
So I didn't quite get the benefit out of that I thought that was being pushed my way and was being explained, but it was really an underhanded explanation, because I think it's one of those things that not everybody has a full grasp on it, to be honest with you. So that was something I learned, and in that discussion. So helps for future. I mean, certainly we are going to be able to help direct some other people with that kind of knowledge that we've learned. And and go from there.
Yeah.
So
And that kind of goes into the initially when we did the Sunrock thing, we were like, hey, you can if you invest, say it's not in a self-directed IRA, you can write that off your income. But no, you can't unless you're a real estate professional or it's passive income. You can write off your PAT, not your active income, not your W-2 income. We talked about this many times too. And that was something that initially I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it wasn't explained extremely well. So we learned that one, but I didn't get burned by it. I kind of figured it out. But
so this is
yep.
the reps tracker, and you can see my hours that have entered in.
There you go.
555, and there's a lot
wow,
that hasn't been entered in yet.
You've done that in 9 days in January?
No, that's 2024.
That's a lot of time,
2024.
Bro.
So,
and
again, those reps hours, you're just told the number, and you're like, oh, God, I can do that. Well, let me tell you, you got to keep track of every bit of this stuff. It's a pain in the ass, is what it is. And I still have stuff that I have to go back and enter in, because this last year, you need a total of 750 hours to qualify for professional real estate status. 200 of those 750, let me take that back. 250 of those 750 have to be non-participating. So it could be education, it could be networking, it could be meetings that you're going to, but not directly participating as if you were a general principal or a general partner. Something that you're actively moving, that you're moving within the realm of the property itself, that would be part of your 500 hours. So 500 hours when you have a part-time job like I do. So I see patients 3 days a week, and then I do real estate the rest of the time. Blaine sees patients 4 days a week or 4.5 and does real estate after that. So you can see where your hours are very limited, and you also have to have a life, and you got to go on vacation and be a husband and be a father and do all those things. So you can't do real estate 24/7 when you leave your practice. So that if you reported that's BS, and we wouldn't ask if they do that anyway, because that's disingenuous, right? So you got to uphold your integrity. That's number one thing. I think that's a core value that everybody that we deal with should have. You have to know, like, and trust the people you work around and work with. So if you don't hold integrity in your life, then I don't think Blaine and I want to do business with you. So just because it's a core value that's very true to what we do. So, but what I'm basically getting at is there's a lot more to this story than just recording hours after you start taking phone calls. I mean, hell, I had how many properties, Blaine? I have all the properties that we're working on real estate wise, investment wise. I'm developing a subdivision. I am developing a commercial property. I'm doing an addition onto the back of my office that I am overseeing. And I still am having a hard time getting to the number of hours all last year to qualify for the professional real estate status. I'm going to make it, because I have to go back and enter the hours that I haven't done, but it's probably going to put me right at like 755. I mean, I'm literally just going to squeak over the edge, but I don't even know that there's an advantage tax wise this year for me doing that. So, for me to go back and put all my time and effort into that, it might not even give me any kind of reward. So next year is going to be very different, because I'm working even less time, focusing even more time on real estate. So that 750 is going to come a lot easier, much that I figure in your case, Blaine, that number is going to come easier than it would be this year, because you were working way too much.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. And then you're talking about time, and that kind of reminds me of one of the things we kind of got. We had a go. We had a we're going to talk. We
did have a topic.
We had to have a topic, but we kind of got off that. But that's been great, because we're still awesome. And
we're real.
Because we're real, and this happens organically.
We are, Blaine. We are seriously playful and playfully serious.
Playfully, yeah.
It's the Playfully Serious podcast. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, the fastest
number one
fastest
growing podcast in multifamily real estate.
Wow. In the universe.
and the universe and beyond.
But I came across a little I was reading something or listening to something, And they talk about, we talk about time, and you need so much time to put into real estate versus your office and whatever to become professional real estate status. And that's, of course, if you have a W-2 job. If you don't have a W-2 job, then, you can pretty much, you probably don't even need to track your hours, because if you're in real estate, that's all you do. And so I don't think the IRS comes after you, but would that be your understanding too, Matt?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. If that's your job, then that's your job. Really, we have two jobs, Blaine. You and I have two jobs.
I think I have three. I got a wine store.
Three?
I got a wine bar.
Yes, you do.
We got trivia.
Does it count if I like to enter the wine store and imbibe? Does that count?
Come on by. I'll sell you some good stuff.
Hey, did you show your wine guy the picture that I said to share with him?
Yeah.
That
was awesome.
Did he pee himself?
No, he's like, oh, that's freaking great. Yeah. We had some really good wine at the wine store. As we segue into wine, which is not our topic at all, but we had some really
it's
great
wine,
great wine.
like whining. That's what we're going.
It was funny because I had, the only time I'd ever seen that type of wine, that brand, was at Matt's house. And I'm like, oh my God, we drank this at Thanksgiving this year. And anyway, so that's a good, funny story. But back to you're talking about time.
Back to time.
And everybody talks about, wow, the only thing you can't get more of is time, right? We're all given the same amount of time. But if you use other people and have other people help you and you leverage them, then their time becomes your time. Now, I thought this was an interesting thought process, because you can't get more time, but if you help other people and have them work towards your goals, whether you hire them or, they don't have to be on your payroll, but they have to be working for you, you can leverage their time toward your goals. And so in a sense, you're adding time, because not only do I have my time, which goes on at a certain rate, but then I have other people doing stuff for me, so that multiplies my time. I thought that was just an interesting way of looking at the time factor. And so one of the most important things that you can do is you need to be a good leader, and you need to get to other people. You need to be able to coach other people into helping you get to your goals. And again, you're not using them and making them. They're benefiting from this in a certain way, whether it's financially or through experience, and most of the time, a lot of these things that you're having these other people do, they're better at it than you are, right? So not only are you leveraging their time to get to your goal, but you're getting it done more effectively, more efficiently and effectively, because they are more expert in that area that you use them for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the whole time-space continuum thing is really something that it moves right into multifamily real estate, actually, and the metaverse.
Are we going to go on? Are we going to get on the Enterprise?
I think Thanos
rip a hole
in his finger, and
Thanos.
And Thanos, whatever it is, and I don't know. I don't want all that stuff.
I would bet that Captain Kirk could.
I'm giving it all I got, Captain.
I got this, Scotty. Help me. I need some help in my real estate, Scotty.
Scotty, can you get some bourbon for me?
Can you get me more time?
Throw a little Scotch turf builder on there. It'll help.
Oh, but if you can efficiently direct and leverage other people, then you're kind of gaining time. And so that was a really cool way of looking at that process. So a lot of people like to do it themselves. Well, you're not going to do it yourself very efficiently in this deal, right? And like my office, there's some dentists out there who work by themselves. Like, they're the only people in the office. This still happens, Matt. And I don't know how effective that can be.
That's because nobody can stand them.
They can't hire anybody. Yes, sir.
Nobody wants to work for them. So they're alone. I mean,
man.
I hope when I go back to my office, I have people. I don't know.
Yeah. That's been a while since you've been there. Who knows?
You know what? Let
Um,
me stop you real quick because I think you're
yeah,
absolutely right. When you're compounding time, you're basically taking away the time that you're investing, and you're gaining more access to that time. There are ways to do that, right? And one of these really came on the scene last year, especially toward the second half of the year, and that was called artificial intelligence. AI has been a huge player in regards to compounding time. So a lot of the things that you're spending your time answering calls or filling to fill your CRM and to fill your leads and all your contacts and your newsletters can all be done either with AI or it can be done with virtual assistants too, which is another avenue that is being used. I use a virtual assistant for my multifamily stuff, and it brings my list together. It helps put out my newsletter that I give to them. It just takes some of the things off of my plate because I don't have that time. I'd love to be able to take that time and put it into it, but I'm also doing the part-time job here and then doing the multifamily here. So I don't have that kind of time. So leveraging other people's time is exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. So that was kind of one of those important points that I wanted to get across today. Is when I read about that, I thought that was really cool. And just for all you guys out there, you gotta get a team together and find relationships, form these relationships that you know, like, and trust, so that these other people can help you to your goals by you leverage them, and they're probably leveraging you somewhat too. So uh,
I had an interesting conversation with the accountant yesterday because we started to talk about real estate and my philosophies with money and my philosophies with real estate and regards to the market and my 401k. So we got into a discussion. So you can imagine
yeah,
your CPAs and your accountants, they like security, right? So they don't want to see you put majority of your excess funds investing in just real estate because real estate is a volatile market
yeah,
according to those that are investing money in the market itself, where you're relying on the S&P and you're relying on stocks and bonds and whatnot, which is ever changing. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Every investor will tell you you need to ride that wave, like we talked about before. So I think one of the things you're talking about, Blaine, is about coaching. You know, you have to know, like, and trust the people that you're working with, and really that comes down to coaching. You have to be able to coach your team and your friends and those around you, so they're either influenced by the things that you're presenting to them or they're not. Obviously, in our case, we want to make sure that we're attracting people that want to take this ride with us, not only to bring better education and learn a market where we're not only making money investment wise, but we're also helping out, philanthropically just a little bit, a community at large, right? We're helping a community grow. We're helping people with housing that's going to stay in housing that's uh, good enough for families to be at or individuals. Not we're not slumlords. You know, there's a big difference in those people that take over enterprises like that and those that care about people. Obviously, we care about people. We're dentists, right? So we've been doing this for
for a
30
few
years.
years. So those are a few things we need to talk about now, real quick. January is always, or end of December, early January is always a time to people like to set goals, right? I mean, it's kind of goal setting time, and people kind of reflect and go back and look at what they've done, or maybe they don't, but maybe they should. So Matt and I are going to tell you a couple of our goals for this coming year. Go, Matt.
Hit it.
You go.
First one's to not choke. Well, I'll be honest with you. I think last year we did this, Blaine,
Yeah.
and I believe my response was I've been tired of writing down and putting down goals and not fulfilling them, right? It's very frustrating when you go back and look at the history of your life, especially as you get older, and you've written goals down and said you're going to do these things, you're going to do this, and this, and you realize that you haven't accomplished much of any of those things, and it makes you feel terrible. So last year, I believe I just stopped. I'm a big believer in goal setting, and last year I took a stance that I wasn't going to do it. and and I didn't, and I achieved every goal that I didn't write down. So what I believe I
Well,
experienced was what I really wanted to do probably got worse. My health got worse this last year. My weight got worse this last year. So I really took a reevaluation when on my birthday. So I turned 57. So I'm not a young chicken anymore, by any means. And I had to take a different look at my life and the perspective of what's coming down the road, because if memory serves me right, if the average man is living to be about, I don't know, 78,
70,
that's
75, 76.
75. So that's the average. I mean, am I really 20 years away from when I die, right? So what do I want to accomplish in 20 years? That's really how you have to look at it. And as Ann and I approach that point in our lives, and Blaine and Chris, where you want to retire and you want to spend time outside of that, we're developing passive income through multifamily real estate where we don't have to work our butts off. That's the goal of this whole thing that we're presenting to you guys. And then secondly, is to be able to travel and do what you want to do with your life that you set out for at the beginning. Well, you can't do that if you're sick and you're laying in the bed and you're unhealthy, right? So this is the year that I told myself I'm setting the goal, and all I did was I was general with my family when I talked about it, but I am going to gain my health. My number one goal this year is to get my health back, and we're off to a pretty good start. So very happy with the progress of where we're at right now. But you it's not cold plunge that's going to make me leaner. It's exercising that's going to make me leaner. So, but I haven't cold plunged in quite some time, but I need to get in. My wife's doing it. Anne's doing it all the time. I feel bad. Like I watch her and I'm like, God, I should be doing that, but it's damn cold. Like when I was doing it, I was
Go
crazy.
back, go
Like I
back to
loved
that
it.
podcast.
Yes,
Go back to
I
that
loved it.
podcast a year ago, and you're like, "It's awesome."
It is. And now I'm
10
looking at it like
minutes, and
it's cold. I don't want anyone to go in it. Dude, trust me. It's a
I
mental thing.
know.
So it's a mental shift, right? But I think going back to the goals, I really want to get my health back, number one. But number two is I want to get back to doing hard things and do hard things. Like, you know what? Cold plunging is not easy. It's hard. Do hard things. Getting out and exercising on a regular basis is not easy. Do hard things. We want to progress and do multifamily deals. We need to incorporate our investors and bring people to our table so we can help make money for them. Do hard things. These are all the things that are incorporated into part of my goal, which is to grow my immediate family of friends and really focus on the attention of relationships this year too. That's the third thing. Is I want to really hold tight the relationships, like with Blaine, my buddy Blaine here, with my family, like my brother, with my parents, with my other friends. I'm going to be very intentional this year about spending time and quality time and focusing in on that. Whereas last year, I don't know. I feel like last year kind of got lost. There was so much going on, Blaine. We had so many things going on in real estate. I had so much going on with the office, so much going on with the practice, and somehow you lose focus on all those things because there's so much. But I think we need to drill down, gather that group of people, focus the attention, and you can bite off every bit that you want to chew on out of all those things at one time if you want. So that's where I sit. Let's hear about you.
Well, one of the other things I learned about goals, a lot of people will set those goals, like you said. I write them down, and
Yeah.
I look back, and I didn't get them. But how about most people that write these goals down? They might do this goal setting. How often do you evaluate those? Right? They'll write them down, and then all of a
Great
sudden
point.
it's six months later, and they're like, "Well, crap, I didn't even start on this one yet." I mean,
Yeah.
so the I was reading the other day, and it's like, hey, if you're going to set a goal, that's awesome, because people who set goals and write them down have a tendency to reach them more often than people who don't. But
Sure.
you got to reevaluate where you are and self-evaluate what's going on. What's going on in your business, what's going on personally, financially, in your health, and all that stuff. I mean, you got to continue to evaluate that stuff consistently, not like once a year, but look at everything every week, kind of browse
Yeah.
through it and go, okay, where am I? What did I do this week? What didn't I do? And man, that takes discipline, and it takes a little bit of time, and mostly discipline. Everybody can find time to do that. But a lot of discipline to do that. And I think I thought that was a huge point, as far as
I like
making
that.
sure you get your goals. So that's multiple things I've told you today that you really liked, Matt. I'm excited.
I know it. I'm excited. This is a new year, Blake. 2025. Blaine's actually saying things that I'm like, wow, he has good stuff to say.
And I might actually be funny more than once a day too this year. That's one of my goals. My friends always tell me I'm funny once a day and that's it, and then I'm done. I'm gonna go for I'm going for twice a day this year.
Dude,
There you go.
Double down.
I'm doubling that. I'm doubling.
Double down.
Twice a day funny. Twice a day funny. I am going
Double
to. I hope nobody saw that.
We can edit that.
Yeah. I am going to I'm going to diminish my hours in my office. I want to at least take a half a day off, maybe a full day off. I go to 3 days a week, 3 to 3.5, something like that. That's a goal. I need to make it happen. I need to make it work with everybody in the office too. And I have some thoughts on that already. So that's good.
Can I share with you something really stupid with that?
Yeah.
You're gonna end up making more money in those 3 days.
I know.
And you're gonna look back and you're like, damn it, why didn't I listen?
Why didn't I? Yeah.
It's true.
I know.
It's gonna happen, and you're gonna be like, so I'm good for you, dude. I love hearing that. Love hearing that.
Yeah, that's a huge one for me. Health wise, I've done a lot of things, and I've stayed in pretty good shape, keeping up with stuff like that. So for me, that's not a that's not a huge big thing for me is because I'm kind of already in that role, and there's some things I'm going to tweak. I got a nice salad smoothie here for lunch. It's got a whole bunch of it's good. Whole bunch of greens and some fruit in there and protein. Yeah, it's delicious. Very good for me. Yeah. Okay. That's what you need. I'll send you some.
Yeah. Just put that in the mail. Just address that to Billy. What's your address here in Bass?
Yeah. and then we're getting a freaking deal going. That's happening this year.
Yes.
We're getting a deal. I got, that one in the no-name city of Austin. Didn't make it, didn't get through unless something weird happens over the next couple months. It could come back on the market. Maybe we'll look at it again, but I got some other deals I'm looking at on top of that already. So it's gonna happen, and we're gonna get her going.
We're gonna have one for sure. This is the year that we put together, and this is the year that everybody out there watching and listening, it's time to jump on the train and join us, and we're gonna do some good stuff. So excited about that. I'm glad to hear you say that as well. That's cool.
Yeah, rock on. That's all I got for today, Matt. I think that was a good one,
buddy. That was fantastic. You are the man.
Yeah, you're the man. You got the awesome shirt on today. I like that.
Go Hawks!
It's looking stellar. Go Hawks! Hey, next year. There's always next year for the Iowa football team.
I think
playoffs,
that's the motto. Iowa's motto is next year.
I think that's everybody's motto.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what though. Hey, how about the Irish? Holy cow!
Oh, that was a fun game. Fun game.
Tonight's game is going to be interesting. I'm taking. I don't want to take Ohio State because being that we're from Iowa, we just can't support
that. You're in Austin right now.
That's right. Can't support that team. But let me tell you something. If Austin doesn't come to play, because it's like the second half, Texas comes and they just they forget they're in a game. I think in the second half, pretty much. You know what I mean? They got to wake up, but because Ohio State's going to come out brawling, and it's going to be I'd love to see an amazing game. Even that Notre Dame game was a good game. So we're in for some really good football here coming up. So that's great. But hey, everybody!
And one more thing. Thoughts and prayers to all the people in California. Holy crap. The fires out there are insane. And we got some of our good friends are living right near one of those fires. They don't have to evacuate yet, but I've been talking to her a little bit, and she's like, it's freaking not too far away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible.
I grew up, that's really the LA basin where all that's happening.
Yeah.
I grew up in Torrance, which is, further south than LA, but I have several classmates. I believe I got 3 classmates that I went to high school with that are all firefighters maybe even 4.
Oh, wow.
And they're probably in those fires right now fighting
Sure.
those. So to all our firefighters that are out there risking their lives, obviously prayers are with them as well and their families, and just hope that everybody gets home safe and stuff like that. And yeah, I think, last thing I want to say, Blaine, is as we tune off, Blaine and I had a good friend of ours that passed away that was very influential in our lives.
Yeah.
And his name was James Ray. And James passed away suddenly last week. And I want to say, I'm not sure exactly how old James was. I want to say he was maybe 65.
Mid 60s.
60, yeah, 65, 66. Great shape. But let me tell you the words of wisdom that man taught us in our early years of developing dentistry and philosophy in life. Just so influential with some of the things that he taught us that we still today. Blaine was quoting him today in the podcast, and and it was one of those things that we say a lot of those words and phrases that he taught us, unfortunately, that it just spins off from the things you learn. And when you hear that, it just brings you back. So to his family, his wife, Bersaba, and his brother, John, and his wife, Cynthia, and the family, just hearts go out to you guys too, and prayers. And just want to tell you all that we love you. So,
Yep.
hey, happy trails,
We're out of
everybody.
here. Thanks.
Peace.
Happy trails.
Bum,